You're tuned in to Tailgate Talk, where the grill is hot, the drinks are cold, and the sports stories never stop. Hosted by DB Cooper and Itty Bitty Ute, and produced by Hollywood. Grab a plate, pull up a chair, and let's get this tailgate started.
Thanks for tuning back into the Tailgate podcast, where the drinks are hot and food is cold. Next to me, I got Itty Bitty Ute on the ones and twos behind the grill. Got Hollywood. Hollywood, who do we have with us tonight?
Yeah, we are excited to welcome in Cody. He is a host of the 7220 Sports podcast that is a representative of Laramie, Wyoming, home of the Cowboys, who the University of Utah will be playing this week. And he also is an affiliate of the College Huddle. And so we're excited to welcome Cody to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. Appreciate you having me on. I started the website 7220sports.com back in 2019, so this is my 7th year covering the Pokes, but I'm born and raised Cheyenne, Wyoming, lived all over the country covering sports, and I always just wanted to come home, man. I just wanted to come home and cover the Cowboys, and that's exactly what I did. So had some stops covering the Pittsburgh Penguins and Michigan State Spartans, and man, you know, I always tell people I'd be sitting in the press box at Spartan Stadium covering a Penn State, Michigan State top 25 battle, and I'm on my phone watching Wyoming play Wofford. And I'm like, man, I got to go home. It's time to go home. So here we are.
Man,
I love it. No,
yeah,
I got a quick question just right before you, Itty Bitty. I gotta get this off the top of my head. Sorry. I'm sorry. You good?
Go, bro.
You have to check on his feelings. His feelings hurt.
Now, Cody.
Yeah.
Stop, Hollywood. Cody, I have to ask. It's bothering the shit out of me. Is 7220 like one of those jokes with the 80085 when you flip it upside down on a calculator? It says something. What the f is 7220? Can you explain that to me? I mean, I've never been accused of being a genius. I'm dumber than a box of rocks. But what the f is 7220?
So it is the elevation of Laramie and Warm Stadium, which is the highest in all of FBS.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Nice.
I figured, I had people go, well, people aren't going to know what 7220 Sports is. And I'm like, not people who are reading my shit.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I like that.
I think we're good.
I thought maybe it was like boobs joke or something. Like,
yeah, okay. Boobless. Yeah, that's all.
Boobless. I do think Utah made like the top 7 in elevation, something like that. I know. Yeah, Wyoming's 1, Air Force is like 2.
Yeah,
I want to say, and Provo and Utah were up there, but yeah. It's high, man.
Air Force is just under Laramie, and then Colorado State, I believe, Boulder, CU. So yeah. I was listening to Kyle Whittingham today and during his press conference yesterday, and he was saying that that's not a factor in our world, and he's absolutely right. That shouldn't be a problem for Utah in this one.
I feel like those factors always get blown out of proportion when it's a snow game and we're playing Arizona State. We're always like, oh, we got the advantage here. Yeah. When we went to Florida and played Florida, they're like, oh, the humidity, that's going to be the advantage. Yep. I mean, I've seen Arizona State kick our ass in snow. I saw us lose, but we kicked ass in Florida. The humidity didn't bother us. So I don't know, I'm interested what you think about, does the elevation really play a factor in the? Yeah,
no, that's a great point, man. I'm kind of with you. It's more of like a mental gymnastics kind of thing, I suppose. You put 7220 all over the stadium and all that, and it's something cool to be proud of and everything.
I like that.
But it's also, I've seen, like you said, I've seen San Diego State come in here and do whatever they want. I've seen Texas come in here, and on the flip side, every time like when Wyoming upset Texas Tech, they're not saying, oh, yeah, the elevation kicked our tail, I have if there's one thing I saw, Wyoming has a defensive end this year, Chisholm Ifani. He played last year at FAU, and he couldn't get through the Cowboys' first practice. Could not do it. He had ice on the back of his neck. He was on one knee. The coaches are just screaming at this dude. And they were like, man, you've been doing off-season workouts here for more than a month. What the hell is wrong with you? And come to find out, he was like, man, this heat is way different than it is in Florida, for one. Yeah. The sun is right there. So he's getting his ass kicked by the sun, for one. And come to find out, he was in the hot tub for a half hour before he went to practice, which is always a terrible idea. Dehydrated, couldn't even stand up. Jeez. But I will say, I have also seen Hawaii come here and take a 66-0 beating and not even cross midfield, and every single player has oxygen mask on their face. So, Hawaii's pretty damn drastic for pretty much everywhere. But other than that, I'm kind of with you. It's kind of more just like, think about it, and you hear other coaches say, oh, we're going to be giving our guys prune juice or whatever. And, San Diego State's basketball team always does that, gives their guys prune juice or whatever the hell it is. And to me, you're just screwing up your own guys, right? Like, why even play into it?
Yeah, I like that. Our visiting lockers, when you walk out of them in the new South End Zone under Stadium, they have the elevation right there. I mean, I think they exaggerated it a little bit for Salt Lake, but just get some people's heads.
I think we added a couple 100 feet to the to the actual elevation.
Yeah, it's all good, man. And I think too in basketball, maybe it impacts a little more in basketball. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not 100% on any of this, but you can run some old school Wyoming teams back in the early 2000s. Man, they ran some guys into the dust, and they were hating life. They were grabbing shorts and hating life. So I could see that. And I talked to, obviously Wyoming has 24, 25 new transfers. They all said, yeah, our first couple of weeks sucked really bad, but it's all good now. Now it's not even a second thought.
What type of player do you feel like Wyoming's getting in the transfer portal nowadays? Like, how has that changed?
Guys, it's interesting. A couple years ago, they were bringing in dudes from the big schools, that had the brand behind them and all that, and it didn't really pan out. And to be honest with you, something Jay Sawbell said this year that was this offseason that I really kind of raised my antennas is he had a conversation with Kenny Dillingham, who's all of 12 years old. Talked to him before the opener last year at Arizona State, and he really respects Kenny Dillingham. And he said throughout the year they spoke, and he said, do you have any advice for me? Because Arizona State reloaded their entire roster on their way to the college football playoff.
All right.
And he said, dude, it does not matter at all where they came from. Wyoming's best defensive player right now, Braden Johnson, he just spent the last 3 years at Oklahoma Baptist, for instance. Oklahoma Baptist, that's a Division II school, and this guy is completely lighting it up at this level right now. And so guys like that, because he said, get guys who eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff and want to be Wyoming Cowboys. That's the most important thing right there. They want to be Wyoming Cowboys. So, yeah, Wyoming had a defensive end from Alabama for 2 years. He never saw the field once, not even on special teams. Yeah. So, you got to get guys with that right mindset. And really the offseason, the goal was to get guys with chips on their shoulder. The show I was just on, I was talking about on Saturday, I think we're going to see two teams that are pissed off. They're pissed off at how last year went. Kyle Whittingham's been here, 21 years? He's missed a bowl game twice. That team's pissed off, and that he reloaded, and they're not going to do that again. And they've already got off to an incredible start, and this might be one of the best teams we've ever seen come into War Memorial Stadium in my lifetime. So Wyoming wears shirts that say it's personal, and at first you go, oh, that's cute, cute little slogan, all that. But you go back to last year, they really did a great job against Ashton Genty. They gave Boise State all kinds of hell. Then they go on the road and beat Washington State and Pullman. Then, they're 3 penalties away from pitching 2 shutouts to start this season. So they are pissed off, and so far so good. 9 new starters on that side of the ball, and they're all from no-name programs aside from a safety who's from Wisconsin who never played.
Let me ask you this. So since we brought up last year's stuff, have you what do you recall from last year's New Mexico game, and what gives you any confidence that the results would be the same or similar for a Wyoming win?
So it's amazing. So Parker was the running back for Washington State, and then Ryan Davis and obviously Dan Pierre are both in New Mexico. Wyoming gets gashed by pretty much, they handled Parker pretty well, but all those guys, they do what they want, especially Dan Pierre was incredible. Wyoming wins both of those games. And it doesn't feel like it because Dan Pierre runs for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns on 12 carries. He was stupid. And Jason Beck put him in all the right spots. And he's a freak. He was sacked, 5 times last year? New Mexico led the league in least amount of sacks given up. It's not because their offensive line is loaded with All-Americans like you have in Salt Lake City right now. That guy is absolutely a freak of nature, and he made Wyoming look stupid. And so did the running back, Eli Sanders. It was a really weird day in Albuquerque. A Devin Dampier pick six is what really ruined it for the Lobos. Why he was even throwing the ball at that time, I'm not quite sure, and I bet they regret that decision. But he is an unbelievable athlete, and when I first saw that he was going to Utah, I talked to Wyoming's coach and just went, dude, of course you have Utah on the schedule this year.
Yeah.
And I thought we were done with this dude. I really did. Like, he came into a game in Laramie 2 years ago, in 2023, and damn near led New Mexico back to a win. And New Mexico was down, I think, 22-9 at that point, and it was a 9-point game. And Devin Dampier was a freak. You knew he was a freak. You asked yourself, why the hell is this guy not starting? And now he's got weapons around him, and he's incredible. He's an incredible athlete, an incredible player, and he has Wyoming's utmost respect, I'll tell you that. And ours for certain. That game in Albuquerque was really weird. It was an absolute track meet. Wyoming, Caden Anderson was starting his first game ever at quarterback for Wyoming, and he just kept answering and answering and answering, and it was a really wild day. I've had a lot of wild games in that stadium, but that was a really wild day in Albuquerque. And
we looked up the stats. At our last tailgate, and it was just like mind blowing. Like, holy cow! And then New Mexico managed to lose the game too. Because I didn't look up the Wyoming stats, but I was looking up, what Jason Beck and Devin Dampier did just out of interest, and we were like, holy cow! Yeah. And then he got to the final score, and I was like, what the hell?
There was almost 1,200 yards total between the both teams on that game, because Wyoming still put up over 600 yards, which is that's insane.
And that was a one-win Wyoming team, by the way, at that time, at that point in the season. Jeez. And New Mexico finished one game shy of bowl eligibility for the first time in forever. And they wouldn't have been there. They blew a game against Montana State, and they blew that game against Wyoming, or Bronco Mendenhall would have had them bowling last year in his only year in Albuquerque. So I spoke to him at Mountain West Media Days, and he was like, I said, well, Dampier's at Utah. And he went, dude, behind that line, especially with those tackles, he was like, oh, my God. I mean, the sky's the limit for this dude.
I love that. Hollywood, you had a little birdie tweet something in your ear about Cody. Do you want to ask?
So I did hear that you're not a big fan of Utah or BYU.
Well,
so two-part question. Which team do you hate the most? And where does the hate for Utah stem from?
Oh, boy. I mean, that's the second question's insane, if I must say so myself. We all hate them. BYU is in a league of their own. Wyoming and Utah fans have always been united in hatred.
That's why I was shocked to hear that you hate us.
Well, by the way, guy, I'm putting on my fan cap here, which hasn't been on in a long, long time. But Utah was just – I always had the top four. I wrote about it today. It was CSU for sure for Wyoming fans. CSU number one, BYU 1B, depending on if you're playing them or not. Then it's Air Force for me, Utah. And Utah was just – I don't know. I think the Urban Meyer, the Olympics – taking off the way they did, because honestly, when I was a kid, guys, Utah in the Kevin Dyson, Steve Smith era, Fatu Malafala era, those cats were right there with Wyoming every year. It was kind of, they'd pop up here and there, they'd be middle of the road, and Wyoming and Utah were neck and neck in that race every single year. And then to see them take off the way they did, and then of course, the Kyle Whittingham onside kick in 2007. My head exploded. I got kicked out of Rice-Eccles Stadium.
You should have. Why? Because you were mad at your coach? That's who you should have been mad at.
I was mad at the world.
Oh, okay.
Furious.
Okay. Well, I'm glad they got you out before you killed a bunch of innocent people.
I'd seen enough. The guy in front of me had a rough ride, and then I got thrown out. And I'd seen enough anyway, so it was time to go.
Was that the last time you were in Rice-Eccles?
I've been to a few games there. I don't know if that was the last time.
Okay.
It's all been horrible. So I've never had a good time at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Although in 1999, Wyoming really put it on Utah that night, and
they won by like 40.
Quarterback. Yeah, Darnell Arsenault left on a stretcher and ended up in the hospital. It was a bloodbath, courtesy of the Cowboys. But who would have thought in 1999 that's the last time they're ever going to win in the stadium? I mean, not me. So, but I remember really good games in the war, and the year Alex Smith year, they came into Laramie. It was an ABC game. It was hopping. The crowd was going nuts, and I talked about it on my podcast today. I'm like, maybe I'm nuts, but I felt like we really had a chance that night. And then the lights went out, and the lights didn't come back on for like an hour and a half, and the crowd was dead. Dan Mullen and Alex Smith come out and just do whatever the hell they want. And I talked to Dan Mullen about that at Mountain West Media Days too, about how crazy that was. He said Urban Meyer was so pissed off they were going to cancel the game. And, the light, some ESPN semi truck blew the fuse or something and burned out every light in the stadium.
Man,
so. Yeah, we flipped that guy a couple hundred under the table. We saw it was going to be a little rowdy. We might have to go back to our old tricks this upcoming Saturday. I think my favorite memory in Wyoming, 2008, Sean Smith one-handed above his back interception, one of the greatest interceptions I've ever seen of all time. I don't imagine that you recall the moment since it wasn't a Wyoming guy, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, 2006 is one of my better moments. Brett Ratliff and Utah come into town. Their offensive line hadn't given up a sack all year. I think Wyoming had 8 sacks in that game. They were up 24-0 at half. And the best part of that game was Wyoming came out unbeknownst to anybody because, social media wasn't a thing.
Right.
Here comes the Cowboys wearing their throwback uniforms from 1993. And dude, it was nostalgia. They kicked Utah's ass nostalgia. It was amazing. Really good memory.
Do you think the athletic department has anything up their sleeves to bring back some nostalgia? Some just trying to get some extra hype for this game this week?
I think I probably would have heard, so I'm going to go with no.
Sure.
But also, I will say, the next year, that crap about Joe Glenn guaranteeing a win and all that, honestly, Kyle Whittingham did what he did because of what Wyoming did to them the year prior in Laramie.
That's fair.
Because Joe Glenn, he was talking to a bunch of students. I mean, what is he supposed to say? We're going to get our ass kicked this weekend.
Hey, Whit knows how to get the boys going. That's all we're going to say.
We were talking about that before you got on because, like you said, it was before social media, so we actually don't know. There's no recording of that. It could have been, a staff member just whispering in Whittingham's ear, and then Whittingham just ran with it. So,
yeah, whoever told Whit about the quote, I'm sure puffed it up quite a bit more to be much more.
Joe Glenn was a total rah-rah kind of guy. He played Cowboy Joe on the piano and stuff. He was the ultimate PR dude. He turned Wyoming football around from a really dark place in the early 2000s. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he would go tell a bunch of students like, yeah, we're going to go in there and we're going to kick their ass this weekend. No doubt about it. But we still have the screenshot from the sideline from Joe Glenn.
Immortal.
I talked to a player who was on that team today. He got Wyoming's logo with the hat in the air, the cowboy hat in the air, except for it's the middle finger. He got that tattooed on his ass after that.
No
That's
way.
sick.
It's
I might
funny.
go get that tattooed on my ass. Sorry.
It's funny because, when the coaches and stuff are interviewed about bulletin board material, they always downplay it. They always say, no, we don't do that type of stuff. We had Josh Nurse, who was on the 2019 University of Utah defense. And it was against Arizona State, DB. Mm-hmm. They had said some stuff, and our defensive coordinator comes in there, brings everybody into the film room, puts it up on the film. They watch it. Nothing is said, and they go out and practice. And so I'm sure the whole coaching staff does their job to make sure that the bulletin board material is there to hype up their guys.
I love it, man. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Well, we're excited. Me and DB are making the drive Saturday morning. Hollywood's too good for us.
I'm coaching football. My son's got a game.
Yeah, he's staying back. But this is my first time to Laramie. I know DB's been there once or twice, but we want recommendations, food recommendations, tailgate, like what we got there.
Yeah, this is the Tailgate Talk podcast. So what do we got working on the tailgate?
Man, the main lot over by the indoor practice facility is Tailgate Alley, and it's just cram packed to the gills. You can't miss it. Everybody just partying. They're there when the gates open, 7 a.m. or whatever it is. there's a lot across the street too, where there's a lot of good tailgates, but they're building a new swimming pool in that lot, so it's kind of a mess right now. But yeah, in restaurants, bars, I mean, guys, you've been there. It's an absolute college town to the hilt. So there's awesome, trashy bars with cheap beer and chicks, and it's
Love all that.
It's the best. I was telling the last dude I was on with that, last time I was in Salt Lake, I ended up at some place called Portacals or something.
Portacal.
It was like
The swingers club.
joint. And this was a long time ago. This was before a Wyoming game at the Huntsman Center, and it was like $18 to get in the door, and nobody would sponsor me in. And I was like, what the hell is this? What is going on? And then I get in, and Wyoming starting forward sitting there with a chick on his lap.
Oh, no.
Cigar and a whiskey, and I'm like, dude, we drove 6 hours for this. You better be ready to roll tomorrow.
I bet he was, too. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, he probably
What
popped off.
about what about Born in a Barn? Good?
Peanut butter and jelly smoked wings
Whoa.
Ooh.
with ranch. Usually
Whoa.
I'm wings with blue cheese, but these need ranch. I'm telling you, man. When I first heard that, I went, no way. I'm not even going to try that. Legit.
I wish you could see my eyes. I'm crying right now. You said peanut butter and jelly smoked wings?
Smoked. Have to get them smoked. Oh, they're legit, dude. They're legit.
We'll
We'll
try it.
Early. It's really, really a small joint, and it fills up really, really quick.
Do you think 2 is early enough? 6 o'clock game?
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably go earlier if you can. It's going to be packed all day. You're going to be on a waiting list no matter what. But the famous Buckhorn Bar is right next door. Of course, that's where when Josh Allen was drafted, ESPN had their cameras there showing everybody going completely nuts. And what's cool, too, fellas, is in the parking lot, Bills Mafia is here this weekend, the guy who dresses like Elvis at all the Bills games.
No.
He saw that scene from the Buckhorn when Josh Allen was drafted. He said, I got to go there, man. I got to be there. And now 10
And he
12,
chose this weekend against us?
Yep, he's going to be here this
I don't like that. No. You guys are going to rally around that, I'm telling you. Mahomes going to have a Josh Allen game.
Well, the library is another place you guys got to check out, and that's where Bills Mafia will go on Sunday and watch the Bills game and party all day. And just great dudes, man. There's a thing between Buffalo and Wyoming now that's it's almost like Wyoming fans need to make the pilgrimage out to Western New York. And Wyoming played UConn like 3 years ago, so we're like, we're all crazy Western people, so we're like, oh, it's only a 6-hour drive. So we drove from UConn to Buffalo and went to the Bills game, and those guys hooked it up from start to finish.
Oh,
I love that.
Oh, you're from Wyoming? Thank you for Josh Allen. Here's a bottle of whiskey and a ticket. It's such a great camaraderie with those dudes, and it's really cool that they come out for at least one game a year.
So
That's
was going
cool.
to be one of my questions was what was that like having a talent like Josh Allen on your roster?
You could tell really early on that the dude was special. He came in for 2 drives, I believe, in 2015, a year Wyoming only won 2 games, and he broke his collarbone in a million pieces. But you saw on those drives, you're like, why? I was just a fan then. I'm like, why in the hell is this guy not starting? He's 10 times better than anything we've seen. It's not even close in 2 drives. Then the next year, he leads the Cowboys to a triple overtime win over Northern Illinois in the opener. Game ends at 2:45 in the morning because of lightning delays. He dives into the end zone. The legend of Josh Allen is born. Next thing you know, he's just doing crazy stuff. He tore Utah State up so bad that year. They couldn't do anything with the guy. And you knew he was really special. And I lived in Michigan during his second year in Laramie. And I remember when it was draft day and they're like, the Denver Broncos are on the clock. And you're like, oh my God, this is happening, man. Josh Allen is going to be a Denver Broncos quarterback. Oh, my God, I cannot believe this is happening. And, womp, Bradley Chubb. It's still – nobody in the state will ever forget the name Bradley Chubb. But I tell you what, now we went from diehard Broncos country to now it's Bills, man. You see Bills stuff everywhere. You see Josh Allen stuff everywhere. And it's not every day, man. I mean, you guys have had, of course, Alex Smith and Scott Mitchell and Brian Johnson and dudes like that, but it's not every day that your quarterback's the starting quarterback in the NFL, let alone the MVP. And the University of Wyoming's really hitching their wagon to that right now. They bought a Super Bowl ad for $2 million. They are sponsoring the Bills Buccaneers game this year. The University of Wyoming will be their main sponsor.
Wow.
Why? Let me tell you this. Why would they put $2 million towards a Super Bowl ad when they could put that towards NIL?
Well, they couldn't at the time because that was one of my big questions. That was one of my big questions. And even J.J. Watt, who just gave Wyoming even more, pub, he tweeted that out during the Super Bowl. Why the hell would you do this? You could have put it in your players' pockets, but at the time you couldn't do that.
Yep.
So,
well, you make a workaround through a booster too.
I agree. I'm all about cheating. I don't know what the hell everybody's doing, man.
Talk to Alabama Jones.
Yeah.
What did you think of that game Sunday night?
Man. You know what? To be honest with you, I was writing a damn Utah story, and I had it on in the background, so I was like, I can't really hear the crowd doing a whole lot. This must not be going well. And then my phone
turned
just
it
went
off.
Bing, 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 bing. So, man, I got to watch this. Got to see what's going on, man. And not even surprised. Not surprised at all. The guy's truly special, man. And that's what, like, the ad that they ran in the Super Bowl was like, University of Wyoming, where underdogs are made. Dude's a poster child for Wyoming athletics. And you couldn't ask for a better ambassador. His jersey's getting retired. They're going to retire it on November 22nd when Nevada comes to town. Those tickets sold out in 2-3 hours.
That's awesome.
And he's going to be there. He was actually inducted into the Hall of Fame last week in Laramie, and he couldn't be there. His parents were there. But this will be his first trip back to Laramie since his pro day in 2018. So everybody's pumped. Man. They've already sold it out. And that's a game in late November in Laramie against Nevada.
Yeah. I'm just so glad it's not us. I'm glad.
Me too.
They said that on the broadcast that he's going back to Wyoming, and I'm like, it better not be this upcoming week. Thinking, I didn't know if they played on a Thursday or what. I don't follow the NFL that closely, but I was like, if he's coming back but I'm still nervous about you. So the Bills Mafia is going to be here. You said,
Yep.
I don't like that.
You've seen the guy in the Elvis outfit, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I'm mad on that.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I might stay home.
We're kind of the same way with the Bills though here, because I mean, two of our all-time favorites, Dalton Kincaid and Cole Bishop, are there, and so I'm a Chicago Bears fan, unfortunately. But if I'm tuning into another game, it's definitely the Bills.
I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Kincaid and Allen have some kind of bet for this game. And I know, like, him and Mahomes were going at it when Wyoming beat Texas Tech. They were going at it on Twitter and stuff like that. Josh is very, very much in tune to what's going on at the university, and a lot of fans, have been like, oh, he's never come back. Like, does he even care about the university anymore? And it's like, dude, he's busy. He's a busy guy, winning MVPs, and he's on about every other commercial that's on TV. So, and he got married, and, he's busy.
Yeah. To one of the hottest Hollywood actresses. Yeah.
Speaking of Texas Tech, I'm interested to hear, obviously we've got the haters down south that have their opinion. From an outsider's perspective, what are your thoughts on the big game in 2 weeks with Utah hosting Texas Tech? How do you think that's going to play out?
What if you haven't? Have you even thought about that, Cody?
Well,
Utah plays in 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, not a lot, I must admit. But Texas Tech was just in Laramie a couple of years ago, and it's to me, they're high flying and all that good stuff. But if you want to get into it at the line of scrimmage, you're not going to beat Utah. And that's where Coach Savell was talking this week. He was like, dude, would I be surprised if Utah's in the college football playoff at the end of the year? Would I be surprised if they're in the Big 12 title game? Hell no, especially starting at those tackle spots, man. Those guys are freaks of nature. I did a story on a guy at Michigan State by the name of Tony Mandrich, who was the number 2 overall draft pick back in the day. Troy Aikman went first. Barry Sanders went third. They hit Deion Sanders, Steve Atwater, Derek Thomas. He was a freak. And that's kind of what these cats remind you of, is they're so ridiculously athletic that you have to wonder how somebody so big can be that good. And it all starts with those dudes. And then I tell you what, that John Henry Daly dude is also a complete freak. Been watching a lot of tape on him, and the tackles have Wyoming's tackles have their work cut out for him, to say the least, this week.
Do you have an opinion on Justin Stevenson? He's been in for a couple plays for us, but what kind of player is he? Can we expect anything from him this year?
Yeah. I mean, I think so, but I think you guys have so many weapons that, I mean, I'm not shocked to see he doesn't have any stats yet. But he actually caught the game-winning touchdown against New Mexico last year in Albuquerque. And
I might bet him then anytime touchdown this week.
Hey,
That
you know
he's coming back home.
He's going to be motivated for sure.
Yeah.
He's a good player, but honestly, we didn't see a lot of him. I think grades
Put it on
kinda
my card,
hampered
Hollywood.
him. Grades kind of hampered him, and he didn't play much early on in his tenure at Wyoming. And when you get into Coach Savell put it this way at the end of the year. He said, "I made a list of 10 guys. I kept 9 of them. 10 guys who we just cannot lose." He kept 9 of them, and Justin Stevenson wasn't on that list. And Justin,
dang it, I thought he was the one that he missed out on. I was like, I was about to get so excited.
No, unfortunately, no. But that's not to take away from the kind of player he is. He's just he's young. He's unproven. So obviously has a lot of talent, or Kyle Whittingham wouldn't have wanted him in the first place. So I think he has unbelievable potential, but I think you guys have such a logjam of dudes that it might take a while.
Next question, no disrespect meant towards this by any means. It's just the nature of college football nowadays.
Yeah.
Who can we get excited for on Wyoming's team this year that might be playing for us next year?
Ouch.
It's just brutal. Is this? Let me ask you this: is this NIL and transfer portal thing hurting the Wyoming fan base, or is it? The diehards are sticking around, and it hasn't really affected it that much.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts, and every time somebody enters, it's here we go again,
Yeah.
But then when the dust settles, guys, you look at it and you go, guys, look at it. I mean, and every year I put out stories about quarter of the way through the season of here's what those guys are doing now at their new homes. It's very rarely like, oh wow, holy hell, that guy was lights out, man. I can't believe we lost him. It's just, it is what it is. But I think what's happening is now guys are seeing their former teammates go places and not play and not be productive and going, why would I leave? Wyoming has a nice little, nest egg kind of makes you think they have a lot of money, and I'm not going there, but they have a nice little NIL deal. They pay their dudes. They're doing pretty well considering, amongst their peers for sure on the football side of things. So, what they're here for is what you're going to see on Saturday. The house is going to be packed. It's the best atmosphere in the Mountain West Conference. They go play at San Jose State. No one's there. They go play at Utah State. There's 16,000 people there. You go in
better than Boise State, or are they not counted? I've never been to Boise State.
I say yes. I don't know if any of you guys have at all, but the sideline's 100 miles away from the stands, and it's just not. It's not an intimidating place. It's intimidating because the team's so damn good most of the time. But it has, to me, in my opinion, I've been to numerous games there. That ain't it. That ain't it. To me, War Memorial Stadium is rocking. It's loud. It's an event. People from all corners of the state converge on Laramie every Saturday for this game, and it's our only show. It's our only show in town. So that's what gave me the confidence to start 7220 Sports, because I know everybody in our square, even though there's only 550,000 of us, we all care about the Wyoming Cowboys, whether it's that much or that much.
Yeah, I've been to both Boise State Stadium and Wyoming's. Wyoming's is much more intimidating from probably, I'm not speaking from a player's perspective, but from a fan's perspective, much more so than Boise State.
They're just on top of you, man, and it's packed and it's rowdy and everybody's been sauced since noon, and it's good stuff, man. I love hearing the old stories. Kyle Whittingham talked about it this week during his press conference, how it's brutal. The fans are brutal, and they are, especially when he played at BYU. Very brutal. So I love it.
I have one question for you. It's the last question that I'll ask you. So I grew up in a household full of BYU fans, and they're known to exaggerate stories from time to time. But one of the most consistent stories that I heard from my uncles, my grandpa, was when they would travel up to Laramie for a game, fans would piss in Ziploc bottles or Ziploc bags and toss them into the BYU section. Is that true?
I've heard that before, and I guess I'm going to be shocked.
I love that story. I love that story. That's awesome.
I heard one where they said Wyoming fans would sit behind us and light pennies on fire and try and flick them in the back of our shoulder pads.
That's the one I've always heard.
Yeah.
Hey. I respect that. Should me and DB be worried about piss bags being thrown at us this Saturday?
No, I can tell you that, because last time I was up there, we walked around the tailgate and everyone was so nice to us, and we're like, why? Finally, we asked, why the is everyone so nice to us? All we hear forever is how bad Wyoming fans are, And finally, somebody was like, "Well, it's because you're not wearing blue, right?" And we're like, oh, "Okay." And then we became best friends with all the Wyoming fans.
Yeah,
that's where we have always had the common bond. No doubt about it. No doubt. And
respect.
to be honest with you guys, when I say I hate Utah, it was more of a healthy respect, and you could maybe even throw in jealousy, because it was like, damn it, why are they taking off? And then really the kicker for me was in 1996. Wyoming played Steve Sarkisian and BYU in the inaugural WAC championship game in Las Vegas. And they were number 6 in the country at the time with an Alliance Bowl bid on the line. Wyoming was 10-1. BYU had to take the Cowboys into overtime. They beat the Cowboys 28-25. BYU goes to an Alliance Bowl. They go to the Cotton Bowl. Utah gets picked for the Copper Bowl. Wyoming goes home at 10-2.
Oh,
that one still
brutal.
Pisses me off beyond belief. And those old school cats, they're like, dude, I can't even watch this. Guys are going to bowls at 6-6. I can't even watch this crap.
Yeah.
It was frustrating as hell. But you know what it was? It was like the Copper Bowl in Tucson's thinking, we're going to get a hell of a lot more red in the stands than we are brown and gold. And a lot of Wyoming fans would have gone to that, but I think they thought Wyoming blew their load because half of Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas was Wyoming fans, and they're like, "Are they really going to travel again?"
Yeah.
For the Copper Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, sucks, but
Yeah.
we deal with it one step above us. So sometimes we get the shaft with bigger names. But go ahead, itty bitty.
I was just gonna say I'm a big uniform guy, and DB has actually really convinced me about the Wyoming uniforms. They're some of the best in the country. They're filthy. So
I grew up wanting I loved Wyoming. Just I wanted to play there, honestly. And it was all because of the uniforms. So sick. And the logo.
I'm so glad
sick.
to hear you guys say that, because it's kind of like the Cleveland Browns, right? Like either you hate them or you love them. And I can't really say because I grew up here, so of course I love it, but I'm used to it. So I've heard people in Michigan go, "Oh my God, I can't watch Wyoming." Because of that." I'm like, really? And I was like, Wyoming also has the best logo on planet Earth. Oh, by the way, and they have those uniforms are just crisp as hell. They're beautiful. Love them.
crispy.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I lived in the crane world for a couple of years, and every truck, crane, hard hat sticker, everyone had a Wyoming cowboy on their hard hat, truck, crane, whatever. And so it is, if you are a hard nose, blue collar, work your ass off type of guy, I think that's the kind of, they just appreciate that school and that type of living.
Yeah. Well, and we all get the tattoo right away. That's all of our first tattoo, right? That was an easy one right off the bat, but it's also on our license plate, and it's iconic though, man. It really is. I've seen people all over the country. If you're wearing Steamboat on your hat, you're gonna get stopped wherever you go. And nowadays a lot because of Josh Allen, but that's where the marketing of him has been so huge for the university. So many people see Josh Allen, they think University of Wyoming, and it's all good.
I was gonna say if itty bitty pays for it, I might do a walk-in tattoo on my leg and get the Wyoming logo. That'd be sick.
I will pay for it. Done.
I really might. Is there a walk?
We'll get the
Is there a walk-in place in Laramie to get it done at?
Oh yeah.
We'll do a live episode.
Yeah,
Bro.
film it.
Let's do it.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Cody,
I'm not even
you got
kidding. I love
a tattoo machine over there somewhere. We'll have Cody do that.
No, I'm doing a professional Hollywood. I'm not gonna have Cody give me a prison tat.
Yeah, they don't even care if you're drunk or anything.
Yeah, I'm down.
Well,
I'm down to pay half of that.
Done. I think we gotta wake up earlier now and get out there.
I don't have any other questions. What do you guys got?
No, I thought this was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to hang out with us.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much, Cody.
I love it, man. I'm glad you guys are coming. Welcome to Wyoming. It's going to be a fun day, and place is going to be packed, sold out. It's a great college town, great college atmosphere.
I know you probably get busy during the season, and we'll take any time we can get. But man, if we can get 15 minutes every couple weeks or whatever, just to hear how the Wyoming Cowboys are doing, I'm gonna have a tattoo on me. So obviously, we're gonna be invested in the Cowboys the rest of the season. So if we can get any time with you just to get check in on how things are looking and how our players for next year's roster will look. Who's in the clubhouse? Who are we looking at?
That is the most brutal question I've ever gotten. Congratulations.
Damn.
That was good.
It's just where we're at in college football. I told you not to take it personal.
No, thank you guys for having me on, man. I appreciate it. Had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have a great time while you're here. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks so much for listening to our interview with Cody, 7220sports.com. That is not a boobs joke. Thank you so much again, Cody, for stopping by, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Appreciate you, fellas. Safe travel.
That's it for this episode of Tailgate Talk, hosted by DB Cooper and Itty Bitty Ute. Produced by Hollywood. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your tailgate crew. Join us next time for more sports talk, food, and fun. Until next time, keep the grill hot and the stories hotter.